Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today I want to highlight some of the new UI options that DICE have recently added to the game. Some of them are completely new to the Battlefield series, some are so-called legacy features that we've seen in previous games, and some have been in the game for a while, but they're worth mentioning for all the newer players out there who simply aren't aware. If you do enjoy the video and you learn something new, consider hitting that subscribe button for more videos like this one. So the newest addition to the game is a scalable minimap. Just as we had in previous games, you can now finally hit N on your keyboard to scale between 3 different zoom levels. If you want to do this on console, you need to bind the map, zoom and size key binding by default. I believe this is the large central button on PlayStation that's usually reserved for maps and that sort of thing in games, and on Xbox it's this button, whatever it's called. If you have it set to auto, it will stay at 50 meters when you're on foot, 120 meters if you're in a ground vehicle, and 300 meters if you're in an air vehicle. However, you can actually change these distances if you like. Head into the options, go to display, then minimap, and mess around with the sliders there. So if you're somebody who typically plays infantry most of the time, you could actually have those 3 zoom distances set to whatever you like really. And I believe that's actually a first for any Battlefield game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think these sliders for changing these distances have been in any game before. There are some other great minimap options to be found here that were previously added to the game, like opacity for the various icons, textures and backgrounds, but one thing that is still missing from previous games, arguably the most important one, is minimap scale. Now you can slightly increase the scale by going to HUD General and turning World Info Scale up to 125, but this isn't much of an increase, especially if you're playing on a large monitor or TV and you really want to take advantage of that screen space. Unfortunately, it will also increase the scale of your squad information next to the minimap. It seems these two UI elements are tied together, which is a pretty big oversight, especially since minimap scaling has been in Battlefield for almost a decade at this point. Here's what my minimap looks like in Battlefield 4 in comparison. Now there may be some hope here. So Heeb, one of the best Battlefield players I know, asked lead gameplay designer Florian about this, and Florian answers, "I'd love to. It's sadly having some limitations that are related to the other HUD elements that can be visible on screen, plus the game mode elements layout that makes it more of a headache to support. With that being said, I'm looking at what can be done, plus increasing the default size, which I think is ridiculously small today." And I couldn't agree more. This is what the default size looks like, and you really can't tell much from it outside of which direction your enemy is in, but far less about how far away from you he is. The next option is called HUD Colours. So this was added in Season 3, Patch 3.0, but it may have been missed by many. Head into HUD General, scroll down to the colorblind section, enable custom colors, and then change the new options for custom primary color and custom accent color. This will change the base colors of the HUD elements like the panels behind your weapon. So even if you're not colorblind, maybe you just don't like turquoise or teal or prefer to have your own color scheme. Now those are the 2 newest additions to the HUD customization. However, there are a ton of great options that have been added here over the past 3 seasons, so if you are a new player or you've simply never taken the time to set this up, I really recommend going through them all and setting things to your liking. That will help remove a lot of unnecessary screen clutter, you'll play better, and you can get things at just the right scale for the screen that you're playing on. I won't go through all of them here, otherwise this would be a super long video, but I have been showing you guys screenshots of all my preferred settings, so if you want to copy those, just go back and pause the video. Now the next one here is specific to Zain's new trait, Perseverance. So as you'll know by now, if you used him, whenever his trait activates and you start healing after getting a kill, there is both a sound effect that plays, as well as an arguably strange on-screen effect that triggers. Honestly, the first time I saw this, I had no idea that it was his trait, and I simply assumed that my graphics card had it. But if you head over to Accessibility General and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can actually alter how strong these effects are. So if you don't like that on-screen effect or you find it slightly blurry or jarring, you can turn it off and rely on the sound cue instead. Personally, I'm going to try 50% for the visual effect and see how that works out. Now this next one has been in the game for a long time, but it's one of the most important for gameplay. If you head into accessibility controls, you can change revive interaction and request skip revive to a toggle. This is an absolute game changer. Instead of having to hold the button to revive somebody, you can just slide over, hit the button once, and then concentrate on aiming at potential enemy ambush locations. It also ensures that you won't cancel the revive by accident and have to restart the entire animation. I notice that a lot when somebody revives me, that they accidentally cancel it and have to restart, so that tells me a lot of players aren't using this option. And similarly, changing the request skip revive option to a toggle just means that you don't have to hold down that button every single time you die. Another good one is the concussive effect option. You can actually change this from light to dark. So if you prefer for the lights to go out as opposed to being blinded by concussive grenades, change this to dark instead. Now this next one has been in since release, but it's, in my opinion, an absolute no-brainer. So go under mouse and keyboard and on foot, and there you have auto throw grenades and throwing knives. I believe this is off as default when you install the game. They may have changed that, but turning this on will make your grenades and throwing knives work like they do in most games. That is to say, you hit G and you will both equip and throw the grenade at the same time. If you have this option off, you will only equip the grenade with G and have to fire to throw it. I don't really see any use for this option to ever be off though, because if you want to hold your grenade or knife, you can simply hold the fire button mid animation and then release it whenever you want to throw. So there you go guys, 5 important options that every player needs to know about in Battlefield 2042. Hopefully at least one of these is new to you. Let me know if you have any more necessary options that you deem worthy of a video like this down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.